There are, at least several techniques, for dealing with aggressive callers. Today, I'm going to tell you about a method that is rarely mentioned by all sorts of speakers and trainers, and while it's actually one of the simplest. This method is to take control of the conversation by asking questions. This is because you need to know that in a conversation, the one who asks the questions is in control. By asking questions, you can additionally direct the conversation by asking the right questions. By asking closed questions, you can also try to force certain answers. You can also make your interlocutor to consider certain issues, to take into account another position. This method is effective due to the fact that as humans, we are conditioned from childhood to give answers. If someone asks us a question, we feel obliged to answer it. And it is this mechanism that this method uses. The key here is to understand that an aggressive interlocutor, as a rule, does not want an explanation of the situation. Rather, he cares about throwing out his anger, sharing his frustration, or hurting another person because of the pain he carries inside. Sometimes completely unrelated to the issue at hand. The key in this connection is the aspect of listening to one's interlocutor. It is truly amazing how often just listening to someone is enough to calm them down. The key word at any given time is to say, "I understand that you are upset. I understand that you are frustrated with the situation." And then, after such a phrase, you start asking a question. At this point, your interlocutor is completely disarmed. Because you don't argue with him, you acknowledge his emotions. And here note, you acknowledge his emotions, you don't acknowledge his truth. You do not acknowledge that he is right, you only acknowledge his emotions. You can also say, "Please tell me more about this situation, what exactly happened, how you behaved, how the other party behaved." Remember, the person asking the questions has control over the conversation. Remember, too, that asking questions allows the interlocutor to say something about the subject and throw out his anger and, if possible, redirect his attention to another point of view. For example, by asking, "How do you think an employee would behave in a given situation?" I know that it is sometimes difficult to curb one's emotions in a given situation, but if you are committed to alleviating the conflict, you need to take control of the conversation.